Good morning, buenos dias. It's always a bit daunting going third because you never know what the other presenters have just presented in terms of my messages. I'm glad to say that I've got a few things different, and I'm going to do my presentation slightly different as well. Not in the sense that I also will have a video at the end, so there is a theme occurring, as you kind of noticed. First of all, just introduce myself. Thank you very much for IBM to come today and present. I'm representing IBM's digital operations. I've been with IBM for about 6 months. Previously, I've worked for British Telecom, where I spent 10 years driving their supply chain Internet of Things business unit. What I want to do today is kind of give you a little bit of an insight in terms of some of the challenges, some of the conversations I had with customers within IBM, but also kind of outside IBM in terms of conversations around Internet of Things and the kind of strategies they're sort of kind of adopting. Hopefully that's kind of useful for some of you in the room to kind of adopt something very similar. What you've kind of seen in some of the two previous presentations is a lot of numbers. Now, my presentation will not change on that as well. I'm going to present you a couple of numbers in a second too. But the fact is that actually the world is changing. The world is changing in the sense that data will increase exponentially. And actually this morning I've just read an article where Ericsson just released a report about IoT devices will outclipse or overcome the mobile phones in about 3 years' time. So there will be more IoT devices out there than mobile phones. The point I'm trying to make here with this kind of initial slide is it is all about data. How can I, as a kind of an end user, as an organization, harness it for the benefit not just for my organization, but also for my customers? Does anybody remember what this little thing here is? Remember? I don't actually know who actually still uses that, but in about 2 years' time, we will create information or data every second in the size of a floppy disk per human. That is quite incredible. So what we're kind of saying here is we can't get away from the fact that information will be absolute key. So I promised you I'm going to do it slightly different. So I'm going to ask you for a little bit of participation if you wouldn't mind. What you see here is a kind of a maturity model. You will see plenty others around, but I think this is kind of one of the simplest ones I found. When you start building an Internet of Things strategy, you kind of need to kind of see the path in terms of where your organization currently is to kind of where potentially you want to go. So let me ask you, who in the room representing your organization thinks they're on the left-hand side in terms, on the right-hand side in terms of differentiated? Any hands? Okay. Oh, one. Yeah. Sure? Okay, I'd like to have a chat with you at the end, please. Anybody on the other side of the spectrum and connected? Who's connected? 1, 2. Okay, so about 10. Thank you. So, those who haven't raised their hand, you either were too shy or you're not on it. Or you're on any of the other ones. But typically when I do this, the majority of people are not even on that slide. And that is quite common. So fear not, you're not alone. There are a lot of companies who are really not even sort of on the connected stage yet. But that is kind of your first entry in terms of Internet of Things. So how do you get there? Do a little bit more audience participation. On the slide you see a tractor, a washing machine, a quite fancy staircase. I've chosen that because it goes around rather than kind of just the usual straight up, and some potholes. Any idea which one is the odd one out in this picture? Any guesses? Which one? The potholes, yeah. Okay, any other ones? I'm not asking the reason why, but any other ones? Yeah, potholes. Tractor, anybody? No? Okay, I have to make a slight confession. They all have something in common, and I will explain it to you. Starting with the tractor. John Deere is a really, really good case reference here. Everybody knows John Deere as a very well-known global company manufacturing tractors and farm machinery. A few years ago, they've put sensors into those machines. And a lot of people kind of see that as Internet of Things. What those sensors has allowed John Deere to do is to kind of understand how the farmers are actually utilizing the machines. But that's not where the story ends. In fact, that's actually where it only starts. Because what John Deere has done after that is actually was building a platform where not only they can gather information from the farm machinery in real time, they've actually added additional information like weather and other external sources into that platform. And they're now starting to offer, or have started to offer, that information to their customers. So what is happening now is that a very well-known brand like a John Deere who's manufacturing tractors still manufacture tractors, but on top of that they've now created a new business unit by actually selling information as a service. Let's have a look at this funny escalator. I think it's in Singapore. IBM has just started work with a very well-known escalator and lift manufacturer, where not only we're going to put sensors in, to be honest, actually the manufacturer has already put sensors on for a few years. The point we're trying to do here is actually we're harnessing that information, that census data, to actually look at people flow. And that information can potentially be sold to or utilized kind of by other ecosystem partners like hotels, like shopping malls and airports, if you want to manage the traffic flow of people. Washing machine. Who's got a washing machine? We all have. Who uses a washing machine? Yeah, I admit it, I use a washing machine. The reason why I chose the washing machine is because we can all really relate to it at home. Who never had a problem with a washing machine? Who feels the pain when the washing machine breaks and you can't use it for at least another 2 weeks? Because what happens is, the machine is broken down, you have to ring your insurance company, who then rings a subcontractor to come out 3 days later to have a look at it, to say, yep, it's that. I haven't got that part. I need to order it. It's going to take at least 10 days. Comes back 10 days later, and all of a sudden 2 weeks have gone past. 2 weeks where you can't use and do any washing. For those of us whose children, it's a bloody nightmare. The point I'm trying to make here, it's about customer experience, and I'm glad that none of the two previous presentations have used the term yet. So I'm introducing it in my presentation. Internet of Things for me, it's all about customer experience. If you want to take that as a takeaway home, that is really important. So how could Internet of Things kind of help within a washing machine example? First of all, if you start putting sensors into a washing machine, not only do you understand how the washing machine performs, but you straight away have a connection to the end customer, me and you. Something which in the past has never really happened. Washing machine manufacturers never really had a good link to the end customer. So that's the first good thing. The second thing is, because of the sensors, you can start seeing if the machine is actually working in its optimal way, or if it's starting to spurt out fault codes. And you, as the manufacturer, you can see that much earlier than maybe even before the customer experience problems. So, customer experience, machine is starting to kind of throw up some fault codes. and the manufacturer's ringing me up and saying, Mr. Strauss, fear not, but we think there might be something wrong with your washing machine. Maybe we send an engineer out to have a look at it. Optimize. Take a guess how many washing programs a standard washing machine have. Give me a number. 20? Any more than 20? It's not bad. I've counted mine as 17. 17 different functions of a washing machine. Now, can I just ask you, how many functions do you actually use out of those 20, realistically? 3? Yeah, I use 2, but yeah, 3. Do you see, with all that sort of kind of engineering design of, kind of fancy, very expensive washing machine features which nobody really uses, if you put a sensor in, you can start understanding how your customers are actually using your machines. Which means if you're starting to build and design the next models, you can maybe take some of the complexity out. I mean, let's face it, washing machines are not that necessarily complex, but they can be quite overwhelming if you have, 20 different programs, and different fine-tunings. Well, is it really necessary? Because it all adds to the cost. You can extend and interact. So you can maybe have a mobile app which people can interact, your customers can interact with as well. And the last one is about the ecosystem. So that information you generate through the sensors in your washing machine could, for instance, be of use to other ecosystem partners. That could be your electricity company, who kind of starts understanding that Patrick constantly uses actually his washing machine during the day rather than during the evening. It could be my insurance company as well, who maybe kind of rewards me for having a smart washing machine to maybe detect before it starts leaking and flooding my kitchen, that it kind of informs me accordingly. And what we're seeing actually with Internet of Things, and this is kind of one of the key messages here, is you will start seeing new business models coming out. So rather than sort of CapEx and OpEx models, you will start seeing outcome-based or reward-based models. And in terms of a washing machine, it could be kind of, maybe take one of our new washing machines, at a reduced price, especially kind of if you had a problem. It's all about the customer experience. And really the question here you see on the right-hand side is, how do my assets impact on my people and customers? What is the customer experience? When I speak to my clients, it is sometimes a very difficult question to answer for them. So, to kind of wrap it up a little bit, because I only had 20 minutes. So there's about 4 things I'd like you to take away in terms of what a good strategy could look like. First of all, IoT can create new business models and products. So understand how the data you collect can drive new business models and products for the future. It can improve operations and lowering costs. Look at how the data internally can improve your processes. Work with your ecosystem. Don't think you can do it all by yourself. You won't. And IBM has realized that quite quickly. Hence, that's why we're working with a lot of our own ecosystem partners, very similar to kind of what we kind of just heard from Telefonica, to kind of really develop some solutions around that. And the last one, and that's really, really close to my heart, is about the customer experience. You can't shy away from delivering a great customer experience. You can have in your mind the best product in the world. If your customers are not going to buy it, what's the point? But defining the customer experience, the best customer experience, utilizing technologies like Internet of Things, is absolutely vital for your strategy. So, you remember we had these 4 pictures and I missed one out. And if you've never heard of the tweeting potholes of Panama, you have now. AJ, could you mind just playing the video, please? This is really cool, by the way. And if anybody has got similar examples, I'd really love to hear them.
It would seem that in the rush to build a modern city, Panama forgot to take care of its existing streets, creating the contradiction of modern buildings and damaged streets. Modern buildings, damaged streets. And this is not amusing for the people that drive on these streets every day. The most influential news show of Panama decided to take the thoughts of these angry drivers directly to those responsible. Telemetro Reporta presented.
Who's responsible for the Wi-Fi?
The tweeting pothole. Inside potholes on the busiest streets of Panama, we installed a device that every time it's run over by a vehicle, sends a complaint tweet directly to the Twitter account of the Department of Public Works. In addition, a special segment was created in the news show.
Desde hoy hay una novedad en el noticiero y precisamente vamos a presentarla. Se trata del hueco tuitero. Veamos de qué se trata.
We went out to the streets to get the drivers' opinions, and they took this as an opportunity to share their experiences and discontent.
Todos los días tenemos que estar chequeando esto y
Bear with us.
en algún momento el carro se va a dañar aquí.
We also presented the complaint tweets as part of the segment.
Vamos a ver en qué otro tuit ha emitido el hueco tuitero y nos dice, denuncia de Panamá, estoy harto de que se me culpe por los accidentes ocasionados por chequear un hueco. Tapen los huecos y punto. Ahí está la etiqueta, calles dignas.
Many people followed and participated. They didn't just take a liking to the tweet pothole, but also took it as someone that they could interact with and would make their claims public. Not surprisingly, potholes started disappearing. The streets are being repaired. Our tweets started a solution that is currently being carried out. With this initiative, Telemetro Reporta pointed out the hassle drivers suffer every day directly to those responsible.
So this is just another example of a smart city, so to speak, using Internet of Things. But I've never come across this until a couple months back. And I found it such a novel idea of kind of utilizing the technology. But coming back to what I said earlier, it is about the customer experience. And you obviously notice in the video that, you know, people are extremely unhappy about the way how the roads were. And utilizing the technology like a sensor in various potholes and utilizing tweets, Twitter feeds, and the media ultimately, who's kind of latched onto that, has had such a tremendous effect that it obviously kind of, Panama City obviously had to kind of bow to the pressure. But it is kind of just an interesting example. And the way I kind of just want to leave you, if you just can click on the little tag. For those non-techie people in the room like me, there is a very, very simple solution if you want to play around with Internet of Things. This is a $15, euro, cents, whatever, tag, which has about 9 different sensors in. And the nice thing is, IBM has worked with Texas Instruments who kind of developed this particular tag. You can actually take this tag and actually play around quite easily with it, kind of utilizing the Bluemix platform, which is free. So what you see here is kind of the light sensor. So it's got a light sensor in here. This tag via Bluetooth is connected to my phone, it's got an app to it. That data is being sent through the hotel's Wi-Fi into the cloud, going to our server in Dallas. The reason why I'm telling you that is if you look on the screen, I'm now actually kind of making it dark, and you see how quickly the graph changes from actually dark to lightness, literally within seconds. And actually, the way kind of this works is you can actually kind of build some recipes simply through drag and drop, where you can do some really super cool things in terms of, well, not just kind of a nice graph, but you actually can maybe send that data to kind of a Twitter account or whatever else you desire. But it is very, very simple, and it's free. Obviously, you need to pay for the tag as such. But the point I'm trying to make here is kind of, this is here and now. You can play around with this technology so easily now if you really want to have a go. It doesn't cost the earth anymore nowadays. And if you want to start small projects, which is my kind of advice to you, start small, look at kind of what kind of information you can gather. A lot of companies I have been working with don't even know what kind of information or data they really want or need. And that's, again, part of the strategy to kind of understand what is the best customer experience you can deliver. Thank you very much. I will be around for any questions later on, but I appreciate your time and attention. Thank you.